Hello, dear traveler, and welcome to my channel. Tonight's ASMR sleep story is titled The Faded Handwritten Cocktail Recipe Card. Here, you'll hear gentle rain, a soft whisper of bar ambience, and a healing, micro-drunk romance that guides you into deep relaxation and peaceful sleep. So, get cozy, close your eyes if you like, and let the story begin. Part 1. The Discovery. I step into the quiet bar, the soft patter of rain against the window like a lullaby, and the low hum of the neon sign casting a gentle glow across the worn wooden countertop. My fingers trace along the edge of an old leather-bound journal left carelessly beside a tall glass of water. Curiosity tugs at me, and I open it slowly, feeling the grain of the cover beneath my fingertips. Inside, a faded recipe card slips out and flutters to the bar like a lost secret. I pick it up, noticing the paper's edges are yellowed with age, tiny creases marking where it's been folded and unfolded countless times. There's a faint ring of a dried liquid stain, perhaps a drop of whiskey, or maybe tears smudging the corner. I bring it closer, breath catching as I read the looping, elegant handwriting, his handwriting. My heart flutters with nostalgia. I remember the first time I saw him here, at this very bar, how he smiled when he offered to mix me something special, and how I felt at home in the warmth of his presence. Now, years later, I'm alone, yet his words on this card make me feel he's right beside me, leaning close as the rain taps out a gentle rhythm. The recipe title reads simply, "For Her, with Love," crossed out once and rewritten beneath in a steadier hand. I run my thumb over the ink, feeling the slight ridges where each stroke pressed into the paper. The ingredients are simple: a dash of spiced rum, a whisper of elderflower liqueur, a squeeze of fresh lime, and a splash of soda, but each line is annotated with little notes in the margins. Don't shake too hard, wait for the fizz to settle, sip slowly, savor every moment. I close my eyes and breathe in, imagining the cool tang of lime on my tongue, the sweet warmth of rum wrapping around my senses. In this dim light, time seems to slow, the bar's ambient glow melts into a soft cushion around me. I let out a gentle sigh, feeling a hint of the evening's hush settle into my bones. My fingers tremble slightly as I fold the card and tuck it back into the journal, but something stops me. I pull it back out and set it gently on the counter, as if inviting the past to speak again. The journal's leather cover creaks softly beneath my hand, and for a moment, the bar feels suspended in a tender, timeless hush. I lean forward, my elbows resting on the cool wood, and whisper to the empty room, "Show me. Please show me how you made me feel so alive." And in the soft glow of the bar, with rain tapping like a heartbeat outside, I begin to remember. Part 2. Our first encounter. I remember that rainy evening like a soft dream. The bar's windows were streaked with water, each drop catching the amber glow of the street lamps outside. I ducked in, soaked through, desperate for warmth and a drink. My shoulders were tense, hair plastered to my neck, as I slid onto a stool at the far end of the counter. I ordered my usual an old-fashioned with a twist and took that first sip with a wince. The rain had left me craving something sweeter, something that would thaw the chill in my bones. My gaze drifted to a new face behind the bar, a tall man with kind eyes and a wry smile that seemed to promise better things. He polished a glass, then set it down with a gentle clink and asked, "Rough night?" His voice was low, comforting, like velvet brushing against my skin. Before I could answer, my elbow bumped the glass. The amber liquid sloshed over the rim and onto my hand, the warmth of the bourbon shocking against the cool dampness of my skin. I gasped and reached for a napkin, startled by the sting of spilled drink and surprise. He moved quickly, nearly graceful, handing me a clean glass. "Here," he said, tucking my hand out of harm's way. "Let me make you something different." His eyebrow arched in a playful challenge that made my chest tighten. I nodded, heart fluttering with curiosity. He gathered bottles and tools with deft fingers, spiced rum, elderflower liqueur, fresh lime. I watched each movement, mesmerized by his confidence. He measured, he stirred, he whispered to the shaker as if coaxing out a secret. Then, with a flourish, he poured the pale pink concoction into my glass, garnished it with a delicate twist of lime peel, and slid it across the bar. "Taste this," he murmured, eyes never leaving mine. I brought the rim to my lips and took a slow sip. Sweetness bloomed on my tongue, a gentle warmth unfurling in my chest. The elderflower danced with citrus, the rum grounded it all with a soft spice. My breath caught. I'd never tasted anything so intimately crafted. He smiled, that knowing smile, and I felt something awaken inside me, a spark of connection, a whisper of possibility. In that moment, the rain outside faded to a distant rhythm, and the bar held only the two of us, bound by that first sip of his secret blend. Part 3. The ritual begins. Each Thursday evening, like clockwork, I find myself drawn back to this familiar bar. The rain's rhythm has become a soft backdrop, a private lullaby for our meetings. I slide onto the same bar stool where we first met, and he always on time greets me with a small, knowing nod. "Ready for tonight's twist?" he asks, voice low and warm, as he reaches for the yellowed recipe card lying beside my glass. I nod, feeling a flutter in my chest that never fades. He flips to a fresh, blank space on the back of the card and writes, "Summer's Eve cooler." Beneath it, he lists ingredients: a hint of gin, crushed cucumber, a splash of elderflower, and a drop of honey. He comments in the margin, "Crush gently, don't bruise the basil." His handwriting is precise, each letter a gentle caress on the paper. As he works, I watch the condensation bead on the chilled glass. The shaker's soft clink and his quiet humming blend with the rain's patter into a soothing ASMR chorus. He strains the pale green mixture, garnishes it with a single basil leaf, and places the glass before me. I inhale deeply. The fresh scent of cucumber mingles with botanical notes, carrying me to sun-drenched afternoons and lazy garden picnics we once dreamed of. I raise the glass, our eyes locking in a shared smile, and sip slowly. Warmth spreads through me, comforting and sweet, as if the drink itself holds a promise of brighter days. We talk softly about life's small victories, the book I'm reading, the day's stresses that still cling like cobwebs. He listens, genuinely present, and I feel seen in a way I never have before. Every now and then, he adds a tiny note to the card's margin. She smiled here, laughter spilled, heart skipped. By the end of the night, the card bears fresh stains of syrup and a new crease where he folded it to tuck in his final note. Until next Thursday, my friend. I tuck it carefully back into the leather journal, heart full, knowing this ritual, our weekly communion, has become the anchor that steadies my soul. Each meeting, each cocktail variation, draws us closer, weaving our story into this little card page by page, stain by stain, until it becomes the living chronicle of us. Part 4. Late Night Confession. That night, the bar felt even cozier, lantern light flickering like whispered secrets. As rain pattered softly beyond the window, he slid onto the stool beside me, eyes reflecting the warm glow. I could almost taste the anticipation in the air. "I've been thinking," he began, voice as soft as velvet. His fingers toyed with the recipe card, tracing the faded ink. "One day, I want to see the world with you." He paused, looking for my reaction in the flicker of flame. My heart stuttered, warmth blooming across my cheeks. "Travel the world," I echoed, voice hushed. I imagined us wandering cobblestone streets in Paris, sipping café au lait under morning light, or watching sunsets on Santorini cliffs, each memory fueled by a different twist on that secret blend. He nodded, leaning closer as if the lantern's circle of light were our own private universe. "I want to find new ingredients, learn local recipes, bring back stories to write in our card, together." His words hung between us like a promise. I swallowed hard, breath catching. "I've always dreamed of writing a novel," I confessed, voice trembling with excitement. "And I want to read my first chapter to you, in a cafe in Venice." He smiled, eyes shining. "Then let us make it happen," he whispered, placing his hand over mine. In that gentle touch, I felt our shared dreams take flight, two hearts plotting a course across continents, guided by the faded recipe card that first brought us together. Part 5. Distance and Letters. When he told me he'd been offered a position in Berlin, my chest tightened. The night we said goodbye, rain danced against the taxi window as I pressed the yellowed recipe card into his hand. "Keep it safe," I whispered, voice trembling. Across the ocean, our connection survived on ink and paper. Each week, I'd find a new letter tucked into the card's envelope, his neat handwriting mingled with the scent of his cologne, and sometimes a trace of lipstick on the fold. I'd sit at this very bar, the rain tapping like a distant heartbeat, and gently unroll the parchment. My fingertips would trace the edges where he'd written of moonlit walks along the spree, of finding a local honey for my next cocktail experiment, or of standing beneath the Brandenburg Gate thinking of me. One letter arrived with an attached photo, him smiling, a handcrafted bottle of mead in hand. In the margin, he scribbled, "Wish you were here to taste this." My eyes blurred with tears and something warmer hope. I pressed the photograph to my heart, as if I could feel his warmth through the image. Each message became its own ingredient in our recipe for love: a dash of longing, a splash of longing, and a garnish of belief that distance could never diminish what we'd begun here, under these soft lights, with that faded handwritten card. Part 6. Solitary Mixology. I push open the bar door and step inside, the familiar scent of aged wood and bitters washing over me. The place is nearly empty, save for the bartender polishing glasses and the steady drumming of rain against the windows. I make my way to our usual stool, sliding into its worn leather embrace, and place the yellowed recipe card in front of me like a sacred relic. My fingers dance over the creased paper, lingering on each line of ink that bears his thoughtful notes. I breathe in, closing my eyes, and recall the precise way he measured each ingredient, the soft tremor in his hand when he would pause to smile at me. Tonight, without him here to guide me, I decide to become both student and master of our secret blend. I gather the ingredients: spiced rum with its comforting warmth, elderflower liqueur like a whisper of blossom, fresh lime to cut through the sweetness, and a splash of soda to lift the mixture into something effervescent. I arrange them on the bar in the exact order he once did, glancing at the card's margin note: "Shake gently, don't bruise the basil." I reach for a single basil leaf, its green vivid against the pale wood, and tuck it into the glass. The shaker rests in my hand, cool and smooth. I pour in the rum and liqueur, drop in the lime juice, and add a hint of honey from that little jar we found at the weekend market. I seal the shaker and begin to move it first slowly, then with a soft rhythm that matches the rain. Clink, clink, clink. It's a gentle rhythm, almost musical, and I lose myself in its cadence. As I lift the lid, the aroma blooms: citrus, floral, and spice intertwining like the memory of his voice when he whispered the recipe to me. I strain the liquid into a chilled coupe glass and watch the pale gold swirl, catching the light of the dim lantern above. I bring the glass to my lips and sip. The warmth spreads through me, filling the spaces left by months of distance. The flavors are familiar yet tinged with my own uncertainty, an echo of learning to stand on my own feet while still holding on to us. Behind me, the rain intensifies, each drop a soft drumbeat that composes a lullaby for my restless thoughts. I lean back, resting my elbows on the bar, and let the shaker sit empty beside me, its metal surface reflecting the street window behind. With every sip, the card's faded letters seem to glow a little brighter. I imagine him beside me, guiding my hand, laughing when I overdo the lime, gentle when I hesitate to stir again. I pour a second round and follow his margin note, sip slowly, savor each breath. I do just that, breathing in through my nose, tasting the delicate interplay of flavors, and exhaling the tension that's been coiled inside me. My thoughts drift back to our first encounter, how the card was blank then, waiting for our story to be written. Now, its pages are stained and lined with notes and smudges, a testament to every moment we've shared. I close my eyes and picture his smile, the way he'd lean in close to whisper instructions, his breath warm against my ear. A soft creak announces the bartender's approach. He slides a fresh napkin under my glass and nods without speaking, respectful of my solitude. I offer him a small smile in return, grateful for this quiet sanctuary where I can practice both memory and hope. I rise from the stool, glass in hand, and move to the window where the rain blurs the world outside into shimmering streaks of light. I cradle the glass, feeling its cool weight, and sip again, imagining that each taste brings him closer. The shaker's clink may be gone, but the rhythm lives on in my heart, steady, reassuring. Finally, I set the glass down and retrieve the recipe card. I fold it gently, tucking it into my coat pocket as if carrying a piece of home with me. The bar's doorway opens to the rainy night, but I feel warm, comforted by the ritual I've claimed for myself. The card's secrets remain mine to honor, ingredients of love distilled into liquid memory. As I step back into the world outside, the rain's lullaby lingers in my ears, and I know that no matter how far he travels, our ritual will guide me back here to this bar, to this card, to the taste of us. Part 7. Reunion Shake. It's been a year since he stepped onto that rain-slicked tarmac and carried our secret blend across the ocean. Tonight, the bar feels like the world itself has paused, every droplet on the window pane, every muted glow of the lantern, every soft creak of the floorboards waiting for his return. I perch on our usual stool, heart fluttering like the first time I tasted his cocktail, and I clutch the faded recipe card in my hand as if it were a lifeline. A soft chime echoes as the door swings open, and there he is, taller, perhaps, with just a hint of salt in his hair from winter wines abroad, but unmistakably him. His eyes scan the room until they find me, and in that instant, all the months of longing collapse into a single, breathless moment. I stand, clutching the card to my chest, as he crosses the bar with a slow, sure stride. He smiles, pulling me into an embrace that smells of travel-worn leather and distant mountains. My arms tighten around him, and I press the recipe card into his hand. "I've missed this," I whisper, voice quivering with relief and joy. He unfolds the card gently, as though it were made of silk, and traces the edges of the first recipe we shared together. "I've missed this, too," he replies, his voice low and tender against my ear. "But tonight, I have something new for us." He clears a space on the counter, setting down the card with care. Then, With practiced precision, he gathers small vials of unfamiliar liqueurs and local spirits. He has discovered a broad and amber-infused rye from a Brooklyn distillery, a honeyed mead from the English countryside, even a delicate hibiscus cordial from a tucked-away Parisian boulangerie. My breath catches at each new bottle, each label scribbled with his neat script: Brooklyn Rye, Somerset Mead, Paris Petal. Watching him measure each ingredient feels like witnessing a sacred ritual. The shaker in his hands becomes an instrument of reunion, a vessel that will capture our year apart and distill it into a single, shimmering cocktail. He adds a pinch of crushed lavender, an echo of the fields we once dreamed of wandering together, and then a ribbon of orange zest that twists in the glass like a promise. He seals the shaker and gives it a deliberate shake, a confident, joyful motion that sends the polished metal glinting under the lantern light. The sound is sharper than I remember, as though it's echoing across the distance we've bridged. When he pours the mixture into 2 chilled coupe glasses, the liquid catches the light like molten sunset, shifting from rose gold to amber. He slides a glass across to me, our fingers brushing for an instant that sends a shiver down my spine. To us, he says, eyes bright, and I echo, to home, even though this bar, this card, this moment, they all feel like home. I lift my glass and take a slow sip. The flavors bloom on my tongue with the richness of our shared history, the smoky rye grounding the sweetness of the mead, the floral lift of lavender weaving through the citrus warmth. It's familiar yet reborn, much like us. I close my eyes, letting the liquid memory wash over me, and when I open them, he's watching me with that same tender gaze that first captured my heart. We talk then, in hushed tones, about the small triumphs and tiny heartbreaks of the past year. He tells me of rooftop bars in Brooklyn, where he sneaked this recipe into a secret tasting. I tell him of the quiet nights here, when I recreated his original blend alone, longing for his return. Each confession folds into the next, a tapestry of moments stitched together by this little card that holds every inked word of our story. Laughter bubbles up between us, soft, relieved laughter that feels like release, and the card, now splayed open on the counter, bears new smudges of our reunion. He leans forward, pressing his forehead to mine, and whispers, "I never stopped stirring for you." My heart flutters, a staccato drumbeat in the hush of the bar. I press my lips to his, sweet and sure, and pull back to find his face alight with emotion. "And I never stopped waiting," I reply, voice thick with warmth. In that gentle, glowing moment, the world outside, the rain, the city lights, the ticking of the clock all fade into insignificance. Here, in this quiet bar, with the faded handwritten cocktail recipe card between us, we are whole again. The ritual continues, renewed and forever ours, one perfect reunion shake at a time. Part 8. Shared Dreams. We sit side by side at our favorite corner of the bar, the yellowed recipe card spread between us like a map to a hidden treasure. Outside, the rain has eased to a soft drizzle, and inside, the lantern's glow casts gentle shadows across his thoughtful face. He tucks a stray lock of hair behind his ear and leans close, voice low. "I've been thinking about New England," he says, tracing the curling edge of the card with a fingertip. "Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, each state, a new flavor, a new chapter in our story." My heart flutters as I picture us winding through coastal roads, stopping at lighthouses and maple syrup farms, dragging our suitcases of spices and syrups from one tiny bar to the next. "We could start in Portland, Maine," I whisper, excitement warming my chest. "Learn the local blueberry liqueur, then head inland for a cider experiment in Vermont." He grins, eyes alight. "Exactly. And everywhere we go, we add a note to this card: new ingredients, tasting notes, memories." He uncaps a second pen, ink the color of deep burgundy, and together, we write our first entry. "Portland, me blueberry maple fizz. 2 ounces local blueberry liqueur. 1 ounce maple syrup Vermont. Half a ounce lemon. Top with soda water. Notes: berries bright and tart, syrup adds autumn warmth." I watch his handwriting curl across the page, then take the pen from him to add my flourish in deep navy. "Shared our first sunrise on the harbor, laughing as seagulls joined our toast." He closes his eyes, imagining that moment, and I close mine beside him. "Can you see it?" he murmurs. "The boat's bobbing, the air crisp, our glasses clinking." His voice trails off as he opens his eyes to meet mine. I nod, feeling as though we're already there. And then, I say, we drive up Route 100 in Vermont, chasing autumn leaves, stopping at that historic cider bar you told me about. He laughs softly, the sound a warm ember in the hush of the bar. "Yes, and they LOL show us how they press the apples, cold and fragrant. We'll blend their cider with a dash of your elderflower syrup, create something no one else has tasted." He taps the card again and writes, "Waterberry, VT autumn apple blossom. 2 ounces fresh pressed apple cider. 1 ounce elderflower syrup. Dash of cinnamon. Notes: crisp and floral, cinnamon leaves a gentle warmth." I lean in, pressing my forehead against his shoulder, a gesture small but intimate. "Every sip will remind us of that sunny afternoon, the crunch of leaves under our boots, the way you smiled when you tasted the first draft." He wraps an arm around me, pulling me closer. "And then New Hampshire," he continues, voice a soft whisper, "we'll chase those mountain vistas, search for that hidden speakeasy in the White Mountains." He flips to a blank line and writes, "Lincoln, NH Mountain Mist Martini. 1.5 ounces gin infused with spruce tips. 0.5 ounces dry vermouth. Drop of local honey. Notes: herbal uplift, honey softens the pine edge." I imagine us nestled by a snow-dusted window, the forest stretching into mist-shrouded valleys. "We'll taste the mountains," I breathe, "and bottle those memories forever." As he writes, the bar's rhythm slows, ambient chatter hushes, the bartender's footsteps fade, and for a suspended moment, it's just the two of us and our growing collection of inked dreams. The recipe card, once a simple guide to a single secret blend, now blossoms under our pens into a travelogue of flavor and affection. I pause, pen hovering over the card, and glance up. "What about autumn in Connecticut?" I suggest, voice soft. "They have that small vineyard near the coast, grape-infused brandy we could taste." He smiles, nods, and adds, "Stonington, CT Vineyard Twilight. 1.5 ounces local brandy. 0.5 ounces Concord grape reduction. Splash of sparkling wine. Notes, rich grape notes, effervescence lifts the finish." Our pens scratch in tandem, recording not just ingredients but moments, sunlit porches, coastal breezes, the shared warmth of a single scarf wrapped around our shoulders as we laugh at the cold. Each note in two inks, his and mine, interweaves our voices, a mirrored harmony on that fragile paper. I pause to take a slow sip of the cocktail he's made for us tonight, the reunion shake from last chapter, still lingering on my tongue. The flavors swirl, a reminder of home and of the endless possibilities that stretch ahead. "To our journey," I say, lifting my glass, "and to this little card that started it all." He clinks his glass against mine, eyes shining. "And to every new recipe and every shared sunrise." We drink, letting the road ahead unfold in our hearts. Outside, the rain has stopped, but here inside, under the soft glow of lanterns, the faded handwritten cocktail recipe card continues to grow, sip by sip, note by note, charting the course of our shared dreams across New England and beyond. Part 9. Stormy Night. The wind picks up outside, rattling the bar's windows as the first low growl of thunder rolls across the sky. I'm seated at our usual stool, the yellowed recipe card folded neatly beside my glass, when the lights flicker and dim, bathing the room in a soft, suspenseful hush. The rain, once a gentle lullaby, suddenly hammers against the panes, each drop a staccato drumbeat that quickens my pulse. He's at the bar when it happens, a silhouette against the dim glow of lanterns, his hands paused mid-pour as he looks up and smiles, that tight, knowing smile of his. "Storm's rolling in," he says, voice calm and steady. "Looks like we're in for a night." I reach over and touch the card's edges, feeling its familiar riches beneath my fingertips. "Good," I murmur, leaning into the warmth of the bar's interior. "I could use a night out of the storm." Lightning flickers outside, painting the rain-drenched street in brief flashes of silver. The bartender breathes a sigh and locks the door, his footsteps receding as he secures the place. Now, it's just us, the storm's wild symphony, and the soft glow of a single lantern on the counter. He places a hand on my shoulder, guiding me to a seat closer to his station. "Tonight," he says, "we'll make something to chase away the cold." His eyes shine in the lantern light as he reaches for bottles I've never seen before. A dark, amber-hued spiced rum infused with hints of star anise and clove, and a small vial of smoked apple syrup he picked up during his travels. I watch him pour, measuring each drop with the precision of a seasoned alchemist. First, 2 ounces of the spiced rum, its scent warm and mysterious, evoking images of cozy fireside gatherings in distant lands. Next, half an ounce of the smoked apple syrup, its smoky sweetness curling into the rum like a secret whispered close to the ear. He adds a splash of honey liqueur to soften the spice, then squeezes a wedge of fresh orange over the mix, its citrus oils bursting into the aroma. The shaker in his hands feels alive as he seals it and begins to move, first slowly, then with a joyful vigor that seems to match the thunderstorm's crescendo. Clink, clink, clink. Each movement is deliberate, almost meditative, blending flavors and memories into a single, glowing liquid. I lean in, inhaling the fragrant steam that escapes when he lifts the lid. The scent wraps around me like a soft blanket, and I close my eyes, letting its warmth seep into my bones. Above us, a roar of thunder shakes the building, and I instinctively press closer to him, safe in the cocoon of his presence. He pours the mixture into 2 thick-walled tumblers, their facets catching the lantern light in 1,000 flickering sparks. He garnishes each with a thin spiral of orange peel, curled like a whisper of sunlight in the storm's gloom. Then he slides 1 glass across to me, and our fingers brush an electric touch that sends a renewed flutter through my chest. To weather any storm, he says softly, lifting his glass in a gentle toast. His words are a promise, reflections of the many nights we've braved life's tempests together, anchored here by that faded recipe card. I mirror his gesture. To us, I reply, voice hushed but steady, the edges of my lips curving into a smile. I take a slow sip, letting the cocktail's warmth spread through me. The spiced rum's clove and star anise unfurl first, a rich tapestry of autumn nights, then the smoked apple syrup's depth settles across my tongue, grounding me with the comfort of homecoming. Finally, the bright hint of orange lifts the finish, like a sudden break in the clouds revealing a sliver of sky. Outside, the storm rages on, wind howling, rain pounding, but inside, the bar is our refuge, its walls lined with memories and the soft glow of lanterns casting long, comforting shadows. He slides onto the stool beside me, and we sit in companionable silence, watching the rain's wild dance beyond the glass. I fold the recipe card open and let my gaze trace the lines of ink that tell our story, each smudge, each stain a testament to nights like this one. He reaches over and touches my hand, his warmth steady and reassuring. I wrote a note, he whispers, pointing to a fresh line at the bottom of the card. Stormy night elixir. Spiced rum, smoked apple syrup, honey liqueur, orange. Notes: clove warmth, smoky depth, citrus lift, perfect for dancing in the rain. I smile, my heart swelling with love and gratitude. "It's perfect," I tell him, voice soft as the rain. I place my glass down and press my forehead to his shoulder. "Thank you for this, for everything." He wraps an arm around me as thunder rumbles overhead, holding me close. "Always," he murmurs. "As long as we have each other and this card, we'll never be lost in the storm." In that moment, cocooned in warmth and whispered promises, the storm outside becomes a distant roar. Here, in the soft glow of lantern light, with the faded handwritten cocktail recipe card between us, we find our calm, the storm's fury softened by love, memory, and one perfect, warming elixir. Part 10. Crisis and Comfort. The morning light filters through rain-streaked windows, casting pale stripes across the worn wooden floor of my apartment. I wake to an emptiness that feels heavier than any storm. News of my grandmother's passing arrived in the night, carried on a phone call that left me hollowed out. She was the keeper of my childhood memories, the woman who taught me how to brew herbal teas in her sunlit kitchen, who pressed flowers between the pages of old books, who always had a gentleness for my worries. Now, her chair sits empty across from me. I clutch the yellowed recipe card in trembling hands, its familiar ragged edges somehow offering more comfort than this silent room. I trace the faded ink as margin notes, the earliest stains of our laughter, and my vision blurs with tears. Stains of grief join stains of honey and syrup in the margins, as though our story itself has begun to weep. I slide out of bed and pad to the kitchen, boots dragging softly. I set the card on the counter, open to the first recipe he ever wrote, "For her, with love." The words feel both precious and painful now. My fingers shake as I gather the ingredients he listed so carefully: spiced rum, elderflower liqueur, fresh lime, a hint of honey. They sit in neat rows on the countertop, waiting for the ritual I've come to rely on. Tears fall as I pour 2 ounces of rum into the shaker. The spirit's warmth is stark against the cold ache in my chest. I add the elderflower liqueur, each drop a soft reminder of summers in that quiet bar, where laughter echoed under lantern light. I squeeze in the lime, its tart scent sharp and bright, and drizzle honey until the mixture holds a golden sheen. I seal the shaker and start to move it. Clink, 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 a gentle rhythm meant to soothe. But the sound fragments into a hollow echo in my mind, and I pause, sweat beading on my brow. The shaker grows heavy, and I realize I cannot finish this alone. My phone buzzes on the counter. "Where are you?" His voice pings through the silence like a lifeline. I type one word, "home." Then collapse against the fridge door, my body folding under the weight of loss. Minutes later, there's a knock, soft but urgent, at my apartment door. Before I can answer, he's inside, coat dripping on the floor, eyes wide with worry. He crosses the room in long strides and enfolds me in his arms. I sob into his shoulder, and he holds me steady, a steadfast anchor in my storm. "I made it," he murmurs, lifting my chin so I can see his face. In his hand is a small insulated carrier, and I know before he even sets it down that it holds something precious. He places it on the counter and retrieves the card, opening it to the margins where my tears have blurred the ink. "It's okay," he whispers, brushing a tear from my cheek. "Let me finish this for you." He moves with practiced ease, as though the bar is here in my kitchen. He pours the remaining rum, what's left of the elderflower liqueur, fresh lime juice, and honey into a fresh shaker. His hands are sure, steady, guided by love and experience. He seals the shaker and begins to shake firm, purposeful motions that speak of protection and care. Clink, clink, clink. The rhythm resounds in the small space, replacing the hollow ache with something warmer. He pours the concoction into 2 coupe glasses, each one garnished with a thin slice of dehydrated lemon forgotten canned last autumn. He hands me a glass and raises his own. "To her memory," he says softly. "To your heart." I sip, the flavors unfolding: sweet elderflower, bright citrus, the gentle burn of rum melting into a balm that soothes the raw edges of sorrow. We lean against the counter, sharing the drink in companionable silence. The card lies open beside us, its margins blotted with my tears and his ink. "Crisis comfort," he's scrawled in a gentle hand. "Always here." I rest my head on his shoulder, feeling the steady beat of his heart against my temple. In that moment, I realize that grief may have hollowed me, but love has begun to fill me again. He holds me as the world outside darkens into evening, the first stars blinking to life beyond rain-streaked windows. With the faded recipe card between us, its pages now inscribed with our deepest vulnerabilities and our fiercest tenderness, we find comfort. Not just in the flavors of our crafted elixir, but in knowing that together, we can weather any loss, any storm, and emerge with hearts still open to hope. Part 11. Rekindled laughter. I push open the bar's heavy door and step into the familiar hush, lantern light dancing across polished wood. The scent of bitters and aged oak wraps around me like a gentle embrace, and I sink onto our usual stool, the yellowed recipe card resting in my palm. He's already behind the counter, eyes bright as he catches my gaze, an unspoken welcome that warms me from the inside out. "Welcome back," he murmurs, voice soft and inviting. He reaches for the card and flips to the latest entry: "Crisis comfort," smiling at the faded ink and tear stains. Then, as if shedding the heaviness of recent nights, he sets the card aside and picks up his shaker with a playful glint in his eye. "Tonight," he announces, "we celebrate laughter." He rattles a small tin of candied ginger and a vial of jasmine syrup onto the counter. My curiosity sparks as he measures each ingredient: 2 ounces of botanical gin, half an ounce of jasmine syrup, a teaspoon of candied ginger syrup, a squeeze of fresh lemon juice, and a splash of tonic to lift it all. He hums a soft tune, one I recognize from a rainy evening months ago, then adds a sprig of mint for brightness. I watch the shaker move in his hands, swift, confident, almost dancing to an invisible melody. Clink, clink, clink. The sound resonates, stirring something light within me. He pours the cocktail into 2 tall flutes, the pale gold liquid shimmering with flecks of mint and ginger. He slides 1 glass across to me, our fingers brushing in a spark of delight. To laughter, he says, eyes twinkling. I lift my glass and smile, feeling a bubble of joy rise in my chest. To us, I reply, voice soft but clear. I sip the cocktail, floral jasmine and spicy ginger swirl on my tongue, sparkling tonic lifting each flavor into a pleasant effervescence. A small chuckle escapes me, low and genuine, and he laughs too, a sound like warm sunshine breaking through clouds. That first laugh feels like coming home, unraveling the tension that lingered at the edges of my heart. He leans in and traces a new flourish in the margin of our recipe card. Laughter returned genuine, bright, free. I read the words, and a grin spreads across my face. You always notice the little things. I toast his inscription, letting the sound of our glasses clinking echo softly in the bar. Outside, the rain has paused, leaving the night still and expectant. The bartender slides over a small plate of candied ginger bites and lemon wedges. On the house, he winks, understanding this is a night for lightness. I pop 1 ginger morsel into my mouth, sweet heat blooming, and lean back to soak in the moment. He settles next to me, shoulders relaxed, laughter lines visible in the lantern light. Remember that time you nearly knocked over the shaker when you tried to help, he teases, eyes warm. I giggle, imagining my flustered clumsiness. I was so determined to learn. I admit, voice playful. I recount the story, how gin spilled like liquid silver across the bar, how we both ended up laughing so hard we could barely breathe. His laughter joins mine, filling the bar with a cozy resonance that makes the woods seem to sigh with contentment. We talk about lighter things, the book I'm reading, his latest travel plans, a podcast we both love. Each anecdote draws more laughter, a gentle cascade that washes away the heaviness we carried in recent chapters of our story. The recipe card, lying open beside us, already bears a new note in his elegant hand. Ginger jasmine fizz. 2 ounces botanical gin. ½ ounce jasmine syrup. 1 teaspoon candied ginger syrup. ½ ounce lemon juice. Splash tonic. Notes, laughter in every sip. I lean forward and add my own flourish, shared giggles in the storm's calm. He lifts an eyebrow, grinning wide. Perfect. He closes the card gently and tucks it into his apron pocket, as though safeguarding our joy. We settle into a comfortable silence, sipping our drinks, the bar's ambient glow wrapping us in warmth. I rest my head on his shoulder, feeling the steady cadence of his heartbeat, and breathe in the mingled scents of mint and ginger. Thank you, I whisper, voice soft. For this, and for every moment you bring me back to laughter. His arm slides around me, pulling me close. Always, he replies. Laughter is the best recipe of all. In that gentle, glowing moment, with the faded handwritten cocktail recipe card between us, a living chronicle of our joys, our sorrows, and our laughter, I know that no matter what comes next, we will face it together, one shared smile and one perfect cocktail at a time. Part 12. A proposal written on a napkin. I settle onto the familiar stool, the warm glow of lantern light wrapping me in comfort. The faded recipe card lies open before me, its pages now a tapestry of our intertwined lives, smudges of syrup, stains of tears, and margins filled with hopes and laughter. He stands across from me, polishing a glass with deliberate care, eyes bright with an unreadable glimmer. Without a word, he reaches for a stack of crisp napkins. His movements are measured, each fold precise. I watch his fingers pick up a pen and begin to write, the tip gliding across the paper in swift, confident strokes. My breath catches their essay reverence in the way he writes that feels unlike any note he has ever left in the card. He tucks the napkin behind the recipe card, where the original lines of "for her," with love still stand. He closes the journal with a soft snap and slides it back toward me. My heart stutters, a fluttering bird chained in my chest. I lift the card, releasing the napkin gently as it flutters to the counter. With trembling fingers, I unfold the paper. Scrawled across the napkin in his elegant handwriting are two simple words followed by a question mark. Will you marry me? Time seems to tilt, the lantern's light softening as my vision blurs with tears of joy. My pulse throbs in my ears, echoing the soft patter of rain outside that has returned like a blessing. I fold the napkin tenderly and tuck it next to the recipe card, as though uniting our past and our future in a single gesture. He reaches across the bar, his hand warm and reassuring, and our fingers entwine. I've been writing our story here, he whispers, voice thick with emotion. Every recipe, every note, it's all led to this moment. Will you continue writing it with me, forever? I search his eyes, kind, hopeful, unwavering, and feel a swell of love so immense it takes my breath away. I nod, tears sliding down my cheeks as I manage to whisper, yes, 1,000 times, yes. My voice trembles, but the certainty in his smile and the firmness of his grip steady me. He lifts the napkin, pressing it against my heart. Then he slides the pen into my hand and, with a shy smile, encourages me to write my own note. I inscribe beneath his words, in ink that matches his first flourish. Forever starts now. We lean across the bar, forehead to forehead, as the storm outside softens to a gentle drizzle. The recipe card, now marked by the most significant question of our lives, rests between us, its pages richer and more beautiful than ever. In that tender glow, with the faded handwritten cocktail recipe card and a single napkin proposal, we toast to the next chapter of our story, one handwritten love note, one secret recipe, and one lifetime shared. Part 13. Celebration Toast. I step into the bar early that evening, anticipation humming through me like the soft patter of rain. The lantern light dances across the polished wood, casting golden patterns on the walls. Tonight is special tonight, we celebrate our engagement. My fingers tighten around the faded handwritten cocktail recipe card tucked safely in my pocket, its edges worn from every joy and sorrow it has witnessed. He's already behind the bar, setting out an array of glassware and small dishes of garnishes, rose petals, edible gold flakes, and tiny sprigs of lavender. Each element feels ceremonial, as though he's preparing more than just a drink, it's a rite of passage. He glances up and catches my eye, a soft smile curving his lips. His apron bears a fresh flourish in the margin, wedding edition creation. I slide onto our usual stool, heart fluttering. He reaches across and takes my hand, guiding it to rest on the counter. Tonight, he murmurs, voice low and warm, we honor every chapter we've written and toast to the ones still unwritten. I nod, swallowing a lump of emotion. He places two elegant coupes before us, crystal bowls that catch the lantern light like liquid stars. Then, with deliberate care, he begins. First, he pours in a measure of aged champagne, bubbles rising in a steady stream, as though laughter incarnate. Next, he adds rose-infused gin, its pink hue glowing softly, conjuring memories of that first blush of spring when we strolled hand in hand beneath blossoming trees. He drizzles in a spoonful of honey from the little jar we discovered together at that farmer's market, the golden sweetness a testament to shared discoveries. Then, he sprinkles in a pinch of lavender sugar, each grain shimmering like morning frost, before finishing with a whisper of elderflower tonic to lift the flavors into delicate harmony. As he works, I watch the card in my hand, noting how its pages have grown thicker over time, like the rings of an old tree telling its story. Tonight, he'll add another entry, a tangible chronicle of us, thicker still with every stain, every flourish, every shared moment. He hands me one of the glasses and lifts his own. To love, he declares, eyes shining, to growth, to laughter, to all the storms we've weathered and the sunrises yet to come. I raise my glass, the champagne's effervescence tickling my nose, the rose and lavender scents swirling in the air. To us, I reply, voice soft but sure. I tip the rim to my lips and sip. The champagne's brightness mingles with the floral complexity of gin and lavender, the honey's warmth settling into my chest, each note weaving together like the years of our story. A gentle clink, and then the world seems to blur into a warm glow. I close my eyes, savoring the taste and the moment. When I open them, he's watching me with that same tender focus that first made my heart flutter. He reaches for the recipe card and flips to a fresh page, ink pen poised. His handwriting flows across the page. Wedding edition rose and lavender fizz. 2 ounces aged champagne. 1 ounce rose-infused gin. 1 teaspoon honey. Pinch lavender sugar. Top with elderflower tonic. Notes: a celebration in every sip, effervescent, floral, sweet, eternal. I smile as I watch him write, my heart swelling. Then he hands me the pen. In a few strokes, I add, our forever starts here. He slides the card back into its pocket, safeguarding our newest memory. Then he stands and extends a hand to me. I place my glass on the counter and take his hand, letting him lead me through the small space to the little table by the window where we first met. There, beneath the soft glow of lanterns and the gentle hush of the city outside, we sit facing each other. He pours us a second round, and we sip slowly, letting the flavors unfold and knit us closer together. We speak of our dreams of a home filled with light and laughter, of quiet mornings reading by the fire, of summer evenings on a porch swing, cocktail in hand. He reaches across the table and squeezes my hand. Every ingredient in this drink, he says, represents a moment we've shared. And this card he taps his apron pocket is the book of us. My eyes fill with tears of joy, and I nod. I can't wait to write the rest of our story, I whisper. He smiles, lifting his glass in one final toast. To our lifetime of recipes, he says, may they always be handwritten, may they always be shared, and may they always taste of love. I clink my glass against his, and in that crystalline chime, I feel the promise of countless chapters ahead. The faded handwritten cocktail recipe card rests between us a little thicker now, a tangible chronicle of us, glowing with the richness of our past and the bright promise of our future. Part 14. Busy days, quiet nights. I slide into the bar's quiet corner, the familiar lantern glow painting soft halos around empty stools. It's been weeks since we last shared this space, weeks lost in fabric swatches, flower arrangements, seating charts, and endless Zoom calls with the caterer. My dress fittings and his suit measurements have become our new ritual, and though my heart sings at the thought of our wedding day, my soul aches for the simpler rhythm of our bar nights. I tug the faded recipe card from my bag and open it to the page we last wrote together, the wedding edition rose and lavender fizz entry, its margins still gleaming with gold flecks in the ink. I brush a fingertip over the words I inscribed, our forever starts here. A pang of nostalgia twists inside me. The bartender offers a gentle nod as he sets a glass of water before me. The usual he asks quietly, already knowing the answer. I shake my head with a sad smile. Not tonight, I whisper. Just water. He nods again and places a fresh napkin beside my glass, respect in his eyes for the pause in our ritual. I lean forward, elbows on the counter, and gaze at the card's crinkled pages as if they hold a portal back to brighter evenings. The bar is hushed, the usual murmur of conversation replaced by the soft hum of the refrigerator and the distant patter of rain outside. I miss his presence here, his easy smile, the way he tucked a stray strand of hair behind my ear as he stirred the shaker, the warmth of his questions and the sparkle in his eyes. I lift the card and trace the earlier recipes. Our first encounter: secret blend, the summer's eve cooler, the reunion shake. Each page holds an echo of laughter, a snapshot of arms linked across the counter, of whispered confidences under lantern light. My fingers linger on a blank page reserved for our next creation, but still empty. I press the card to my heart, craving the way it felt when his pen scribbled beside mine, our hands brushing as we crafted our shared dreams. A soft chime from the door announces a late patron, their footsteps echoing briefly before fading into a corner booth. The bartender straightens a row of glasses, then pauses and gives me a sympathetic glance. He understands, without words, that tonight I'm drinking memories. I take a slow breath and whisper to the empty room, "I miss you." My voice catches, and I close my eyes, imagining him here, leaning across to catch my words, ready to mix whatever my heart needs. The rain outside intensifies, each drop a gentle reminder that sometimes life's busiest days bring the quietest nights. I fold the card closed and slip it back into my bag, its weight a comforting promise that our story waits patiently for our return. Rising from the stool, I cast one last glance at the counter where so many of our moments have unfolded. Soon, I murmur to the empty bar, "Soon we'll be back." Then I step into the night, the soft rain guiding me home, carrying me forward, even as my heart clings to the memory of his company and the promise of our next late-night toast. Part 15. The Anniversary Remix. I step through the bar's doorway and pause in the soft glow of lantern light. The air carries a faint scent of rose and honey, familiar and comforting. It's exactly 1 year since I slipped that napkin proposal into the faded recipe card, and tonight, he's promised a surprise. The bar is arranged differently. Tiny fairy lights drape across the shelves, casting playful shadows over bottles polished to a warm shine. A single rose sits in a slender bud vase at our usual spot. My heart flutters as I move toward the counter, the card heavy in my coat pocket like a secret waiting to be revealed. He appears from the back room, apron dusted with a faint shimmer of gold flakes. His smile lights up the room. "Happy anniversary," he whispers, voice soft as the hush of summer rain. I slide onto the stool, and he sets the recipe card before me. Its pages have grown thick with memories, stains of countless cocktails, tears, laughter, even the napkin I tucked in beside the "Will you marry me?" question. Tonight, it bears a fresh flourish in his handwriting on a blank page, "Anniversary Remix." He gathers small crystal bottles from a hidden shelf, a rose petal cordial from that garden festival we attended in spring, a midnight blue butterfly tea syrup he discovered at a late-night market overseas, and a silvery shimmer powder of dehydrated champagne grapes. My breath catches. I've never had such rare ingredients here before. He measures each with care. 1 ounce rose petal cordial, soft and fragrant. 1 ounce butterfly tea syrup, its deep hue shifting from indigo to violet. 0.5 ounces fresh lemon juice, bright and awakening. 0.5 teaspoon champagne grape shimmer powder, so fine it seems like stardust. Top with a splash of aged Prosecco, bubbles dancing like constellations. His margin note reads, "Stir slowly, savor every moment." I watch as he pours the rose cordial, its pale pink glow reminding me of sunlit mornings we spent in a hidden greenhouse. Then the butterfly pea syrup drips in, a swirl of midnight color that catches the lantern light. He adds lemon juice. For a moment, it hisses softly an almost whispered invitation. Finally, a gentle dusting of the shimmer powder over the surface, transforming the liquid into a galaxy cradled in crystal. He seals the shaker and moves it in a slow, deliberate circle, clink, 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 each note lingering longer than before. The rhythm is unhurried, meant to draw out anticipation. I close my eyes and breathe in the mingled scents: floral, citrus, the cool promise of twilight. He pours the mixture into 2 coupe glasses. The liquid shimmers with an otherworldly glow, shifting from rose to violet, speckled with silver. He slides one toward me, and I reach out, fingertips brushing his in a spark of warmth. To 1 year, he toasts, eyes bright, and to every moment we'll savor. I lift the glass and pause, gazing at the swirling colors as if watching a private sunset. Then I sip. The taste unfolds slowly, the soft petals of rose giving way to the tea's earthy depth, lemon's brightness lifting the flavors, and the champagne's effervescence carrying it all skyward. The shimmer powder adds a delicate pop, like a galaxy unfurling on my tongue. My eyes fill with tears, not of sadness, but of joy so deep it aches pleasantly. I set the glass down and lean closer. "It's perfect," I whisper, voice thick with emotion. "How did you find these?" He smiles, tracing a finger along the glass's rim. "I've been hunting since last autumn," he admits. "Every ingredient I thought would tell our story: rose for our spring dream, butterfly pea for the mystery of distance, lemon for brightness, Prosecco for celebration, and the shimmer for the magic you bring to my life." I reach across and touch his hand. "You always know exactly what to add." He flips the recipe card open and writes with a careful flourish, "Anniversary remix. 1 ounce rose petal cordial. 1 ounce butterfly pea tea syrup. ½ ounce lemon juice. 1/2 teaspoon champagne grape shimmer. Top with aged Prosecco. Notes: stir slowly, savor every moment like our love, ever changing, ever bright." I take the pen and add beneath his lines, "Here's to 1,000 more." He closes the card and tucks it into his apron. Then he leads me to the small table by the window, our old haunt where moonlight pools on the rain-washed street outside. We wrap our hands around the glasses and lean in. We drink slowly, letting the cocktail's evolving hues mirror the shifting emotions in our hearts. We speak softly of the past year, of first dances in our living room, of home renovations, of nights spent dreaming aloud about future children and far-off places. Each memory is a bead strung along the timeline of our love. He takes my hand and guides it to the table's surface, where he's placed a tiny box wrapped in ribbon. My breath hitches. Inside is a delicate pendant, a tiny glass vial filled with a pinch of the shimmer powder, a token of this perfect night. I raise my glass in a final toast. To love's alchemy, I murmur, to the magic of us. He clinks his glass against mine. To alchemy, he agrees, and to you, my forever muse. We sip the last drops of the anniversary remix, letting its gentle warmth settle over us. The bar's quiet hum feels like a lover's lullaby, and the lantern's glow wraps us in a soft embrace. With the faded handwritten cocktail recipe card resting between us, a chronicle now enriched by another year, I lean into his shoulder and close my eyes. Here in this safe haven of rose and stardust, I feel the steady beat of his heart and the promise of every tomorrow. And I know that as long as we stir slowly and savor every moment, our story will shimmer like this perfect, anniversary edition cocktail, eternal and ever beautiful. Part 16. Midwinter's Whisper. The snow had started falling before sundown. Softly at first, like powdered sugar shaken through lace. Then heavier, heavier. Until it blanketed the streetlights and silenced the city in a hush only winter knew how to command. The bar was nearly empty. Just us, the quiet, and the old radiators clinking like tired bones. He didn't say much that evening. Neither did I. But the kind of silence we shared wasn't the lonely kind. It was full, somehow, like a song you know by heart. Even when no one's playing it. We sat near the window, the candlelight flickering between us, casting shadows that danced along the wood grain of the table. I still wore my scarf. He still smelled like clove and the citrus he had zested into the air hours ago. Outside, the snowfall was mesmerizing. Inside, it was warm. The kind of warmth that comes not just from heat, but from presence. He pulled the recipe card from his pocket, not the newer, thicker one with the engagement toast and anniversary remix scribbled in bright strokes, but the original. The faded, soft-edged one creased where my thumb had held it 100 times too many. "Do you remember this part?" he asked, tracing a line where the ink had smudged with time. I nodded. "You added nutmeg that night." "Just a whisper." He smiled. It was snowing, too. And suddenly, it all came back. The first night. The nervous glance. The gentle way he slid the drink across the bar without asking what I wanted, but somehow knowing. He reached for a pen and slowly wrote beneath the last line of that original recipe. "Recreate on snowy nights. Best served with someone who remembers the first time." We read it together aloud, our breath fogging lightly in the cool air near the window. It felt like an incantation. A spell stitched from sugar, spirits, and snow. The candle guttered slightly, and he leaned in to shield it with his hand. In the dim light, his eyelashes cast shadows across his cheekbones. He looked older. but not in a weary way. In the way trees look older in winter, stripped back, but rooted deeper. "I've been thinking," he said, his voice a little hoarse from the cold. "We should frame this card someday. Like a tiny history. A love letter to us." I traced the edge of it with my fingertip. "No need to frame it," I said. "It already lives everywhere." And it was true. That card was no longer just paper. It had been folded into coat pockets, kissed with cinnamon, caught in coffee spills, and dried in sunlight on his nightstand. It had lived beside our laughter and listened in on our silence. It had soaked up storms and anniversaries alike. He stood and began to make the drink, the original, unedited version. I watched, mesmerized, the way his fingers moved. Measured but soft. Like memory itself. The clink of the glass, the hush of the shaker. It was all music. I could hear the night slowing down outside. Even time seemed to tiptoe. When he handed it to me, I didn't drink right away. I just held it between my palms, letting the warmth bloom through the glass. I looked at him, eyes deep and still as winter ponds, and said, "I never knew a recipe could taste like a person. But you've written yourself into every line." He exhaled slowly. Not from exhaustion, but from understanding. I think we both knew this wasn't just a cocktail anymore. It was a chapter. And maybe someday, a whole book. Outside, the snow kept falling. Inside, we sipped in silence. Candlelight. Soft voices. The faint spice of nutmeg floating in the air. A midwinter's whisper. Cradled in glass. And somewhere on that old faded card, beneath the lines and layers of years, a recipe continued to evolve, not just for drinks, but for us. Part 17. Passing the tradition. The bar feels smaller now. Maybe it's just me. Or maybe it's that I see it from a different height through her eyes. Her tiny feet patter across the floorboards, clumsy but determined. Her hand brushing the edge of each stool as if they were ancient trees lining a familiar path. She stops just shy of the counter, tilts her head, and giggles at her own reflection in the glass. He lifts her easily, like he's done it 100 times. Though she's only just tall enough now to peek over the edge of the bar. Her eyes sparkle more his than mine, and she reaches out, touching the polished surface as if it hums with stories. It does. We both know it does. I pull the card from my coat pocket. The same card. Still soft at the edges. Still scented faintly of bitters and citrus peel, though years have passed. Though we've folded it and unfolded it in every season of our lives. She grabs for it, naturally, as toddlers do, all curious fingers and fearless joy. I gently guide her hand, and hold the card up for her to see instead. "Do you know what this is?" I ask her softly. She babbles something half-formed, a melody of vowels and delight, and then leans her cheek against my arm, as if that's answer enough. I smile. It's magic, I whisper. It's how your papa and I first found each other. He winks at me from behind the counter, polishing a glass, the same slow, deliberate way he always has. Still mixing drinks like memories. Still knowing how to listen, even in silence. She plays with a spoon now, tapping it against the bar, rhythm uneven but sweet. I let the card rest in front of her and run my fingers over the lines, each one a chapter. Each smudge a moment. Each pause a breath we once held together. There's a new line now, one we added not long ago. Best shared with the ones you'd give your whole life to. She slaps her tiny hand down on that part, and laughs as if she understands the weight of it. Maybe she does, in her own way. The bar is quieter than usual today. Just the soft clink of bottles behind us. The distant hush of wind nudging the windows. And her little sounds, joy pressed into the shape of a child. I think about how long this recipe has lived with us. How it began as a whisper of a drink, then a date, then a tradition, then us. And now, here she is. A living remix. A blend of everything we've poured into this life together. He slides a glass toward me, something new, I can tell. The color is softer, pale pink with flecks of mint. I take a sip and close my eyes. It tastes like morning sun on hardwood. Like sleepy laughter. Like lullabies in the kitchen. I open my eyes, and he's watching me. I nod. It's hers, isn't it? He shrugs, but his grin gives him away. It's the first of many, he says. She'll make her own someday. I take the card and press it to my lips, just for a moment. A kind of reverence. A thank you. And then I tuck it back into my coat. Close to my heart, where it's always belonged. Outside, the sky is turning gold. Our daughter yawns, tiny fists rubbing at her eyes. He lifts her again, and she rests her head on his shoulder like she's known him forever, which, in her little world, she has. Before we go, I whisper to her again, soft and slow. One day, sweetheart, you'll read this card and understand. Not just the ingredients, but the love hidden between the lines. She blinks up at me. Eyelids heavy. Lips parted in a sleepy smile. And I know, even if she doesn't yet, that she is the best thing we ever stirred into this life. Part 18. Present-day reflection. The rain began again this morning. A slow drizzle at first. Like someone exhaling over the rooftops. It's funny how water always brings me back here. Back to the bar. The glasses, the warmth of wood under my fingers. Back to you. Back to that card. I found it again in the drawer by the kitchen. The one we said we'd organize someday. It was right where I left it last, just beneath the old apron, the one with the faded lemon print. I held it for a long time before unfolding it. The paper has grown even softer, worn in a way that makes it feel alive. The edges are frayed now, curling like the corners of a well-loved photograph. But the ink is still clear, steady. Your handwriting hasn't faded. That curl on the Y of honey. The little arrow pointing to the side note that says only when she's smiling. I smiled. Of course I did. I sat by the window, the one that fogs up when the kettle boils, and laid the card on my lap. The rain tapping the glass sounded like soft fingers on the bar top. Like the quiet way you used to wait for me to finish a thought. I could almost hear you. Taste is time, you'd say. And memory is in the stir. I traced each step with my fingertip. Not just the recipe, but the journey. First meeting. First toast. First burn. First forgiveness. Every drop, every muddled note of citrus and bitters, held together in the ink of this card. I sipped tea instead of cocktails this time. Chamomile and honey. Just enough warmth to carry your ghost without drowning in it. You'd probably say I was getting sentimental. I'd say, maybe you taught me how. I thought of her too, our daughter. Her laughter now a little older, more deliberate. Less of a giggle, more of a grin. She has your patience and your wild eyebrows. And she started asking questions about the card. She wants to learn. Not just how to make it, but what it means. And I tell her in soft, sleepy tones the same way you told me. It's not just a drink, I whisper. It's a map. A map of us. Of where we were. Of how we stayed. Of everything we stirred together. I watch the rain trail down the window like the slow pour of syrup into a glass. And I wonder how many more times I'll tell this story. To her. To myself. To anyone who'll listen long enough to fall in love by accident. I fold the card closed now. Carefully. Tenderly. It feels like tucking a letter back into its envelope. Like placing a kiss between pages. The bar is gone, now. At least, the building. But the smell that cedar, citrus, and clove lives in my memory. In this room. In this breath. And you live in this card. In every line I've read 1,000 times. In every pause between sentences. In the quiet that follows laughter. So, to you, whoever you are, wherever you are. If you're holding this card someday, or even just the memory of it, I hope you read it slowly. I hope you stir gently. I hope you find someone who remembers how you like your bitters measured. And when night falls, and the world softens into velvet silence, may you drift to sleep with these whispered memories, and the gentle hush of rain. Because some recipes are meant to be remembered,